as I was just kept going through the processes, I just fell more in love with the program and what the magazine is for. At first, I actually didn't realize what I was getting into as far as, okay, another business venture, stream of income, things like that. It really quickly turned into, this is something that we need for the community to help shape, to help build.
Podcast, where we explore a wide range of wellness topics, highlight the incredible local professionals here in our community, and encourage you to advocate for your own health and well-being. This week, we're talking about something that impacts every one of our lives, but often gets overlooked when it comes to wellness, and that is community. Today, I'm joined by Jesse Levy, co-founder of the Training Ground Gym in Lafayette, and owner and publisher behind the new publication showing up in mailboxes across town, the Greet Erie Magazine. Jesse is passionate about helping people feel connected and supported, whether that's inside the gym, through local storytelling, or by creating spaces where community can grow. In this episode, we talk about building community here in Erie, supporting local businesses, and why movement, connection, and belonging matter so much more for overall wellness. Welcome, Jesse. I'm looking forward to our discussion today. So I'm curious, what does a gym founder and a publisher, what does a day look like for you?
It does change sometimes. I'm a creature of habit for sure. So I definitely have my routines. And it's not always the same times that I'm in the gym, as you could probably imagine. So if it was up to me, I'd probably start there nice and early and then get on with the day. But sometimes I'm there in the evenings, the midday, half day, things like that. I always do like to be present there. And then if it's on my calendar, I stick to it. So that kind of keeps me organized for the most part on all the color codings of what business I'm wearing the pants on at a certain time.
And then with the publication, is it a lot of meeting? Are you constantly meeting with people? What does that look like?
Yeah. And so one of my biggest roles is just to be in the community, to be that face. Same thing like at the gym too. And so it's a lot of the time spent is meeting with local business owners who are interested in getting a part of the publication, interviewing residents who are wanting to contribute. I'd say that's probably the majority of the time. I used to do everything and then start delegating those things out. So that's pretty much most of my time is meeting with people at local coffee shops and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. So we'll find you. I was I've seen you at Christo's, lots of times.
Yep. That's usually my office away from my office.
So I'd love for you to start off by sharing a little bit about your story. So you're a Colorado native. What first led you into the world of physical health and co-founding the Training Ground Gym in Lafayette?
My brother Jason and I, who also owns the gym with me, we've always just been into that wellness, fitness kind of industry. We were those kids. We didn't have, the PlayStations, anything like that. We were playing hockey in the street. We were part of every sport possible. Looking back, I don't really know how my mom did that. Having kids myself, I'm like, and so fitness and athletics were just ingrained in our lifestyle. And it's kind of a funny story. Fast forward, we had both been interested in a franchise. Little did we know, we actually showed up to a franchise meeting to learn a little bit more, and we saw each other there. And we're like, oh, that's interesting. And so I think at that moment was the pivotal point of oh, well, if you're going to do this, I'm going to do this. Let's do this. And so it was a franchise called Camp Gladiator. They're no longer here in Colorado. But yeah, we started that together, and that kind of laid the pavement for the future. And then our third co-owner, Heather, she also was a part of that franchise. So it really was the foundation of where our next movements were. And after COVID, as you can imagine, the fitness industry got rocky. A lot of big companies went bankrupt. The franchise we were part of took on investors, and then they started just making decisions, not necessarily bad, just different from where we wanted to go. And having a marketing background through all of this, I really wanted to be able to do more for my business through the marketing aspect that I just couldn't do because I was bound to certain guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
And Heather and I used to run an outdoor boot camp in Erie. We've done it a couple different places. We've done Lehigh Park. We've done the parks in Arapahoe Ridge, kind of all over the place in Erie. And one day, it was just a summer afternoon. We were like, let's just open up a gym. Like, why are we doing this? And so
Mm-hmm.
all three of us got together, since Heather was a partner of mine and Jason was my brother. We just kind of started hashing it out, and it was just, I think it was like a 3-month period, just came to fruition. It just happened that naturally. And so I think that was the biggest thing for us, is just like fitness is just a part of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I could never see my life not having some sort of fitness relation to it. And so, we've had the gym for 3 years now, in our fourth. So this will be our 4th year coming to a close soon. And that's pretty much the fast forwarded version.
Mm-hmm. And when did this idea of becoming an owner and publisher of Greet Magazine, when did that come up? Was it about a year ago?
Yeah, so that's another interesting story. And I always knew there was another avenue. I'm one of those serial entrepreneurs. My brother and I, we had a nutrition company kind of through those timelines. Recently, the gym has kind of absorbed that, to keep things more simplistic and unified. I knew there was something else out there for me, especially growing more kids and life getting more expensive. I figured, why not do another venture?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I think really what happened though is, having a marketing brand for over 15 years now, being integrated into the community. I wanted to help more localized. I have clients all over the US that I help virtual or digitally. And there's just this disconnect that it's not that it's bad. I'm a personal person. I like more of that physical interaction and things like that. And so, I just kind of, put some feelers out there, started, putting my LinkedIn profile, sharpening some things up. And the N2 company reached out to me, and was kind of telling me about these community magazines that they do. And I was like, this is interesting, not really wanting to open up a magazine. I don't really want to be a publisher. I want to do sales and marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kind of had some conversations. The CEO, Earl Seals, and founder, he's actually the executive producer for The Chosen, which is a show me and my family love. And that was our first connection. I think the biggest thing is the morals and values have to align for anything. If I'm stepping into somebody else's vision, having the
Mm-hmm.
gym, we were able to create that from ground up. And so stepping into somebody else's company was like, okay, whether it's a franchise, employment, things like that, was kind of more of a cautious thing for me. And so me and my wife were praying about it as we went through these steps of, okay, do we acquire this franchise? They're telling me it's in my neighborhood, Erie. They have over 800 nationwide. So it's established, been doing it for over 25 years. And I think it was about 2025. I always come up with a mantra, for my clients at the gym. Last
Mm-hmm.
year's was get comfortable with being uncomfortable, whether that's fitness related, financial, whatever that meant for them. Because we always do a goal board at the beginning of the year. Everyone writes all their goals down on a big 4x8 whiteboard that we keep there, throughout the year. And then I kind of build in the mantra somehow. And I remember talking with Earl, on a Zoom call, and he's like, Jesse, if I could put all this into words, I think it would just be get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I was like, oh my gosh, me and my wife have been praying about
Like,
this.
that's
Like, that's the
mine.
answer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I was like, all right, how do I sign up? And he goes, well, like, I'm going to give you this Erie franchise for free. Like, I believe in what you're doing and all these things. Like, I don't want to charge you. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, well, that sounds good to me. And
Mm-hmm.
so the nice thing is I do get to be the owner of Greet Erie. That would essentially be that DBA for that publication, right? Under the N2 company. And the nice thing about having them as a partner per se is we own all the print facilities in house. They're located in Texas, but we get to control that in the sense of timely delivering. And so when we tell people it's going to deliver on a certain time frame, we deliver on that promise, pun intended.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as I was just kept going through the processes, I just fell more in love with the program and what the magazine is for. At first, I actually didn't realize what I was getting into as far as, okay, another business venture, stream of income, things like that. It really quickly turned into, this is something that we need for the community to help shape, to help build, and reshape a little bit too. I think over the last, being here for over 20, 30 years, I've seen a lot, but over the last like 5, 10 years, it's changed quite a bit. And I remember going to a town hall and just presenting it to town hall, Andrew and all the council members, just saying, hey guys, I want you to know you're going to start getting this in your mailboxes. Just want to give you a fair warning. This was late, I think about fall of 2025. So I had been working on this since the beginning of 25. So it's not just something that just happened right away. It was a year in the works before it actually hit the homes. And Andrew immediately reached out to me and was like, this is exactly what we're looking for, what we need. We love that you're going to be doing this. And so it is a private thing. I do not get involved with, the city, the news, politics, things like that. All that we want to do is just say, hey, if you have a story that you want to share with the community, this is the platform for you. And it's been amazing having community members and residents reach out with, hey, this is my story. I'd love to be a part of it. And it's been really cool getting to see the community rally around the members that contribute to the magazine, that are on the fence about the magazine. They're like, I never thought I'd do something like this. And so it's just really fun being able to help them share those stories, whether it's their car, their dog, their families, anything like that. And so, yeah, that's kind of a long-winded answer for that.
No, it's so fun to see everything kind of progress. And it's clear you've always kind of had an entrepreneurial spirit inside of you. And then I'm sure you met so many local businesses with the training ground, and now kind of being able to just expand that even more. You're a great networker, I feel like. I have 2 questions. First one, are we the first one here in Colorado, Erie?
As far as the publications goes, so we have a Greet Broadmoor, then we have a Greet Wash Park, and then Greet Erie is the third Greet magazine. We have 6 different kinds to kind of help focus different areas. So Greet is more of like that citywide, so large reach. So this one goes into about 10,000 homes. And then we have another one called Stroll, a little bit different focus that is just on a single neighborhood. For an example, we have one in Mapleton Hill in Boulder. And so it's about 600 distribution. It's a different focus magazine just for that community. Hence the name Strolling Through the Neighborhood. We also have Real Producers, which is our realty magazine. And so we feature high producing realtors in certain areas. So Boulder or NoCo, whatever that looks like. We have a magazine called Be Local, which reaches new home buyers or second, third, fourth home buyers. It's just if a home gets purchased within a certain time frame, it's more of a welcome guide. So we partner up with the local communities and businesses, like here's your top, or here's your coffee shops in your city. Here's your whatever that might be. So a little bit different focus. We also have a couple of new ones called Uniquely You, which is focusing on the spectrum and highlighting that kind of world and bringing that to light, and the businesses that are helping within that as well. And then our brand new one called Salute. We do not have any of those in Colorado yet. And that'll be that military veteran focus. And so, as a whole, those are all the different community publications that we have. But Greet Erie is the third Greet that we have.
Okay. So, Jesse, what does wellness personally look like for you in this season of life?
Yeah, that's a great question. It changes quite a bit. Last year, kind of a backseat for sure. Being in the gym industry, and I'm a very competitive person, and so being in athletics and things like that, that's always kind of been a driving factor for me. If there's a workout, I need to try to win and things like that. And last year it was hard because I still, was eating right or working out. It was a different kind of workout. It was, more personal health wise, not training aspect, which is completely fine. And then if, you miss a day, it's not a big deal. And then sometimes miss a couple of days because you're getting so busy. And I had over 250 meetings last year for Greet alone. And so whatever that comes out to per week was quite a bit. And so that was the big focus. And so it's easy to kind of help let that wellness kind of drop back. And you kind of see some different habits that adapt. And so that was one of my big things to change this year was get back to it. I'm enrolling in about 8 different fitness competitions this year. Just kind of getting back to the grind of it. And I just love being that front leader for my clients too, of saying, hey, you are capable of more and you can do more. I'm going to show you first. I don't want you to have to do this by yourself. I hate it when people say something and then they never do it. And so I was really excited to get that back. And we had our 3rd kid last November. And so my wife has really wanted to get back on, okay, she's ready to work out, ready to do this, ready to do that. And so it's been fun getting to do those things with her again as well, and kind of realigning that. And so I would say it's definitely boosted up this year quite a bit from last year.
Which hopefully that gives people encouragement that, sometimes you have off years where your fitness isn't always dialed in. But that doesn't mean that you can't like redial it back in once maybe something has slowed down, or you're just finally are like, I put in the hard work this 1 year, but now I got to get back to taking better care of myself too. So I'm just going to do that. So we're going to take a quick break from today's episode to hear a word from one of our sponsors. Additional support for today's episode comes from Bridge Refill Market, Erie's local refill shop, helping families reduce waste one refill at a time. As of this month, May 2026, the community has helped save over 28,440 containers from the landfill through refills at the shop. From laundry detergent and dish soap to organic bulk foods and personal care products, you can bring your own containers and refill only what you need. Learn more at bridgerefill.com. Now let's get back to today's conversation. What was it about Erie specifically that made you feel like this was the right community to launch it in?
There was a lot of other locations that they had brought to me. And I initially was like, guys, if this is something I'm doing, me and my wife prayed about it, it is going to be Erie, bottom line. Otherwise, it's just not going to work out. Because we were praying about if it's going to be a good fit, it's going to make sense, it's going to work out. And so that was definitely the focus. If this is happening, it's going to be in Erie. So each brand of the publications have different teams, to keep things organized. And so they got me in touch with this guy, Tristan, and we had a call, and he was like, wow, they keep saying you want to do Erie. We have these magazines called Greets. We haven't really thought about it yet. It's in the works. We are looking at Erie. Let's chat about that one instead. Because initially I was looking at like a stroll publication on a specific neighborhood in Erie. And I was like, wait, you're telling me I can hit all of Erie? Like, this is even better. And so it just kind of kept getting better and better for me. Because this is where we've resided. We've lived in, I grew up in Lafayette, Gun Barrel area, Boulder area as well. That's where I was born, at the old Boulder Community Hospital. And then we were in Thornton, Broomfield, just kind of all the surrounding areas. And we knew we wanted to come back to this area to kind of settle up at and things like that. And so knowing that this was the community that I've been a part of and wanted to get behind, it was kind of a no-brainer for me that once they said Greet Erie, I was like, let's go.
No, it's so fun. And, both me and you are in the same position of being able to serve the like businesses and community that we both live in. And it's so rewarding. It's so fun to be able to do that and feel so connected to where you're living. So
yes, very much so.
So what do you hope that people feel when they read Greet Erie?
Yeah, I love that question. I always tell my advertising partners, we call them preferred partners because it's truly what they are, that people aren't really looking for an ad, right? You could find a million different ad books or whatever it is, coupon things that come in the mail, and they all just go in the trash. And so what we really want to set apart is just, I always use the joke of like a realtor always says location, location, location. Ours is content, content, content. And we really want it to be just like a resident guide, I guess you could call it, is maybe you don't know your community very well and you've wanted to, but you don't even know where to start. Open up the magazine. You'll learn more about the community in 5-10 minutes than you can on surfing Facebook. And I kind of call it the Facebook of the community because everything is always centered around Erie. We do get some stories that kind of drift around. We had a resident that volunteers at the Boulder and Longmont Humane Societies, and then Loving Arms as well, which is in Erie. So we're always able to tie it back into the heart of the community and things like that. But I want people just to feel a sense of connection and community when they read that. Is okay, like, I'm not the only one who does this, or I'm not the only one who feels like this person does as well, or hey, I think my kid knows that kid, things like that. Just that connective thing. I had a text. This was, I think I want to say the April issue. One of the parents was like, oh my gosh, the family you featured, our sons are best friends. Like, what is this? How do I get a part of this? And just hearing those kind of things continuously is just kind of what warms my heart. Is that, oh yeah, they aren't just reading it. They're like hearing it per se, and then acting on it. And it's just nice, kind of on the flip side for my business, is that, 90% of them or more are Erie residents as well. And those are who we like to partner with. Because how many times have we gone to Facebook where it's 400 comments on who do you know for XYZ? Because people are wanting someone they know, they trust, that they can say, if they're at my home and I can leave, I've hit the jackpot with this kind of industry. And it's really hard because we're so saturated and inundated with the digital community, and everything's AI, this and that, what's real, what's fake. And it's just real, true stories that people are reading. And then as they're reading it, they have their guide of who are all the local businesses that I can trust, essentially, because we don't partner with anyone we don't meet with. I say we, really me. I've met face to face with every single business. We've, shaken hands. We've talked over coffee, lunch, dinner, whatever it is, to make sure that they are the right fits. Because ultimately, when it comes back, it either looks good or bad on me who they called. Was it a good experience or was it a bad experience? And so I do want to kind of hold that tight. And so that's another thing that might set us apart, is it's not trying to get every business and every advertiser in. That's great financially, but that's not what's important, and that's not what's going to last. And so I just really want people to just have a one-stop shop of, this is my family or my community, whatever that looks like, and I can get true good content that lifts me up, not going to Facebook and finding something that I was like, now I'm sad and depressed for the rest of the day. And then, having their right business partners that they can trust along the way as well.
For someone who hasn't actually opened up the magazine and looked through it, about how many pages is it?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it's always changing. So around like 36, 40 pages on, we've had 5 issues so far. So that's about the average. The more content we get, the more we grow. I do grow in a 4-page increment. And so anytime we do get new partners, we always have enough content to go around. Sometimes I do push things to the next one just to kind of level it out, because I do have a strict guideline of content to ad ratios, because we don't want it to be an ad magazine. I'm very transparent. I mean, it's free to the residents, so there needs to be a way to pay for it. And the businesses are, we call them partners, because they're the ones that are saying, hey, we want you to use us. Here's your community magazine that you know, love, and trust. We're going to kind of fund that for you. And so, we'll be going up to 40 here soon, and then 44 and so forth. And about on track to add around 4 every month or so, give or take.
Okay. So what have you learned about people from starting both the gym and this community magazine?
Learned a lot about people. I think one thing that's cool is getting, like, just almost reserving the time. Like when I'm sitting down, we'll do hour blocks or whatever they need, just to kind of get to know who people are as an individual, not just a business. Sometimes, like I kind of mentioned a little bit before, we see the face, the business, whatever it is, and we may or may not know them very well. And so getting to know people, their stories, how they came here, what drives them, their morals and values, things like that. It's been really cool to see on 2 different sides, because I was always the gym guy, the fitness guy, the whatever that might be. And so it's and it kind of adopted the name magazine guy or whatever it is. And so it's definitely a different dynamic, because at the gym, I'm running financials, all the different kind of things, the marketing, all that back end stuff that a lot of people don't really see. And then they kind of see a little bit more on this side because I'm more present with it and through the publication. And
what have you learned about the local businesses? Maybe I'll ask that question.
That's good. That's good. I'd say the biggest thing is that a lot of businesses need more help than we realize. Being an entrepreneur and running a business myself, I can speak to it. But I think the biggest thing is like the businesses just care about the community and where they're at. Anyone who started a business or has bought into a business, it's because they're like, this is my home. This is where I want my roots to be, the taxes to go back to, things like that. And I think that's where we've kind of partnered up together is like, well, I can get the word out, show your business to, every home in Erie, and then they're contributing in a positive way as well. And so I think that's been really cool, just kind of seeing the heart of the businesses, if that makes sense, not just the storefront type of thing too.
Well, that's great. As we close today's conversation, if listeners were to take one thing away from this conversation, what do you hope that it is?
When I say, hey guys, this is your magazine, contribute, like I truly mean that. Like, let your voice be heard, whether it's we go super detailed or a little bit more basic. We don't have to share all the details, and that's totally fine. But what I've heard from people is they want more true stories from their community. Like, I don't think people realized how much they do value and love them until they've seen them. And so I think that's a big thing too. And then, we say it all the time of like, hey, we're doing the legwork to try to find who the best businesses are. And that doesn't mean to say if someone's not in the magazine, they're not a good business, right? There's so many good community businesses here. But just like, hey, use it as a guide, when you need someone, try it out and, and then maybe on the finance or the fitness and wellness side, like you said earlier, what we're talking about is you're going to have the highs, you're going to have the lows. Like, don't be discouraged. It's a marathon. It's a process. And what we do a lot, especially like with nutrition, is we're going to teach you how to fish, not just give you a fish. I'll do both, right? But it's more of just that community aspect. And I think why the gyms even thrive too is just we're so heavy on community. And we have clients that have been with us for 8-10 years. And it's just because we want to pour back into them. And I think just people get so discouraged so easily, like, oh, I already fell off. I haven't worked out this week. And then it turns into a month, it turns into a year. And I've been there, and like, you're not alone in that aspect either. So yeah, I guess maybe that's it.
And last but not least, how can people get involved with Greet Erie? How can they offer suggestions? How can they submit stories? What does that process look like?
Yeah. We have banners, at Aspen Ridge and things like that too. Anywhere in the publication, our contact info, there's QR codes to scan. But some of the easiest ways is they can email me directly. It's just Jesse.Levy at n2co.com, or we have our publication one, Greet Erie at n2co.com. And so those emails are pretty available for folks. There's more info at greetmag.com as well. But yeah, any stories they want, it doesn't have to be a particular type of story too. I think some people are like, well, I don't have any cars, or I don't have a pet, or I don't have this. I'm like, we can make a new article. Like,
right.
it's okay. That's what it's for. Yeah. Like, it doesn't have to be the same thing every month. I think, well, and kind of to talk about that too, is the reason some of them are every month is a business that really cares about that category. For instance, the Carefree Pup sponsoring that article is they want to see that every month. And so we attach that form there. And so that's why some of them are every month, some of them aren't, things like that, and go back and forth. But yeah, it's like, hey, the first step is just email me, call me, whatever, and we'll figure something out to get them in the community magazine.
Well, thank you so much, Jesse, for sharing with us here on the Erie Wellness Podcast. And thank you to our listeners for tuning into this week's episode. I hope that this conversation reminds you that wellness is more than just workouts, nutrition, or doctor's visits. It's also about feeling connected to the people and places around you. And thanks again, Jesse, for joining us and for the work you're doing to help bring our community together. All right, friends, before we wrap up, here's the part I need to share. This podcast is for educational and inspirational purposes only. I'm just your friend behind the mic. Nothing shared on this podcast creates a patient relationship with any of our guests or replaces the guidance of your physician, professional coach, or other qualified expert. And the views shared by guests are entirely their own and don't necessarily reflect the beliefs or values of the Erie Wellness Podcast. My goal is to simply create a space for real, open conversations that help us all learn, grow, and feel a little more connected on our wellness journeys. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you back here next time. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Erie Wellness Podcast. If something from this conversation resonated with you, I hope you'll take it with you into your week or share it with someone in our community who might need it. To subscribe, just head to the main page for the Erie Wellness Podcast, right where you're listening, and tap subscribe. And don't forget, when you start to feel better, you start showing up better in all areas of your life, and you deserve that.